it's so tough for us to get a real picture of what's happening on the street there. What was Damascus like for you?
Well, I was told, Bill, before I left here, not to leave my hotel room. And as a matter of fact, the Jordanian airlines won't allow their pilots to stay overnight. So, I was a little concerned. The city is very calm, shops are open. I had a minder, a young woman with me all the time, but I could go anywhere. People are sitting, in malls, drinking coffee and so forth. And yet, 1 hour away, there's violence and people being killed. Again, there's this disconnect that's very hard to put together. We landed in the capital, Damascus, in the early morning and found this ancient city largely quiet. No overt signs of tension or even heightened security. As the stores opened, we found food stalls well stocked and busy. Same with the old Damascus market. Only at the high-end stores and hotels is the punishment starting to hurt.
Sales dropped to zero right now.
Meanwhile, the protests rage on. Bashar al-Assad was never meant to be president. His father, Hafez al-Assad, had ruled his nation with an iron fist for 30 years and had groomed another son to lead. But after that son was killed in a car crash, the president summoned Bashar, then an eye doctor in London, told him, come back to Damascus. Do you sometimes wish that you were still an ophthalmologist?
No, you cannot look back to see yourself as a doctor. Now you have more important position.
And indeed he does. Just last month, an independent United Nations commission who interviewed more than 220 Syrians issued a report stating that the Syrian government committed, quote, crimes against humanity, torture, rape, and other forms of sexual violence against protesters, including children. Do you acknowledge what the UN said?
Very simply, I would say send us the documents and the concrete evidences that you have, and we'll see if that's true or not. You have a lot of allegations now.
Did the UN not send you these documents?
Nothing at all. They don't have even the names. Who are the rape people or who are the torture people? Who are they? We don't have any name. They didn't.
Mr. President, they have issued this report. They have accused you and your regime.
According to what?
Well, according to what they said, it's 220 people, witnesses, men, women, children, whom they interviewed and identified. And that's when they called it crimes against humanity.
As long as we don't see the documents and the evidences, we cannot say yes. That's normal. We cannot say just because the United Nations. Who said that the United Nations is a credible institution?
You do not think the United Nations is credible?
No.
You have an ambassador?
It has never been credible.
Really?
Never.
The outside world has punished Syria. The United States, European Union, and the Arab League have imposed sanctions targeting Syrian banking assets and limiting travel of top officials. And in the last few months, more and more people have taken up weapons to try to topple this regime. Many soldiers have defected and pledged to bring down Assad. Today, Syria is increasingly dangerous and increasingly alone. The Prime Minister of Turkey, who was your ally, has said, and I quote, no regime can survive by killing or jailing. Jordan says you should step down. The Arab League, they have suspended you. You've lost all the support of your neighbors and friends. Does that matter to you?
Nobody can isolate Syria because of our positions. If they isolate Syria, Syria will collapse.
Name an issue that matters in this part of the world, Middle East peace, terrorism, Iraq, Iran, and you will find Syria holds a key role and responsibility. So what happens to this man is of vital importance. You said that if there is any outside attempt to bring you down, it would mean an earthquake. What do you mean by that?
No, I didn't say that. I said messing with Syria. Syria is the fault line in the Middle East. When you play with it, you'll have earthquake that is going to affect the whole region.
For months now, foreign reporters have not been allowed to enter the country to report on the protesters. Can outside foreign reporters come? They have not been allowed.
No, they were allowed, and you are here.
I am here, and I have a correspondent here.
But you've been here for 2 days now. Did anyone tell you where to go, where not to go? Nobody. You are free to go wherever you want.
So we took President Assad at his word, and with his permission, we sent our correspondent, ABC's Alex Marquardt, to the city of Dara, Bill, where the uprising first began.
What is next for this man?
Well, he says the country is stable. It isn't. He promises reforms, elections for parliament in 2 months, and he says in 2014, presidential elections with opposition parties, and that if they don't want him, he'll step down. Well, we'll see. In the meantime, it may be too little, too late.
Barbara Walters, our thanks to you.